Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel, and furthermore, welcome back to yet another exciting Five Nights at Freddy's Character Explained video. Tonight we're going to be diving into the story of the puppet. Now, I can already tell you guys are like, well, Prince of FNAF, you've already talked about the puppet. Not this one. We're going to be diving into the disturbing story of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie universe's version of the puppet. And it is really disturbing, so let's get into it, shall we? Prior to becoming possessed by the vengeful spirit of Charlotte Emily, the marionette is shown to be incredibly unique compared to other animatronics in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie universe. It features wireless technology, which no other characters have, and because of this wireless connection, it is able to control all of the animatronics at the original Freddy's location. That would be the toy animatronics, the Wizards, and the mini marionettes in the boat ride that this location has. It is literally the puppet master of this entire location. On top of this, the marionette is described as being the only one that exists. No other marionette was ever built, so of course there are no other marionettes at other locations. It only exists at the flagship Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location. The marionette has a whole show situated around it, where it will be lifted out of its music box in a secret room beneath the show stage at the flagship Freddy's location. When the marionette is fully revealed, it will begin to wirelessly connect to the toy animatronics, puppeteering them to perform and even interact with guests. The marionette is alluded to have some sort of personality beyond simply orchestrating the shows at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. This is something that is briefly brought up early in the movie where Vanessa talks to Charlotte about the marionette, with Charlotte describing the marionette as sort of a mother figure to her, that the marionette listens to her and she feels a deep connection with the character. In 1982, Charlotte Emily would witness William Afton attempt to murder a child. Of course, dressed in the Spring Bonnie costume, luring a child into the back room. She immediately notices this and turns to the adults to help. Of course, none of them do, so she takes matters into her own hands. She successfully saves this child at the cost of her own life. William Afton did notice her and followed her around the back rooms of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, where she would eventually die of several stab wounds to her back after saving the kid and returning him to his parents. She would fall into the marionette's trap door as it rose to perform, thus causing the marionette to become possessed by Charlotte's understandably very vengeful spirit. Through sadness and anger, Charlotte's vengeful spirit develops an intense hatred of all adults, specifically the ones, though, that were there on that day. Vanessa would routinely visit Charlotte's spirit in the secret room under the show stage, as she felt rather responsible for what happened to Charlotte, given that her father is William Afton. And it is here that Vanessa explains to Mike years later that Charlotte was increasingly getting more and more upset about her current situation, to the point where Vanessa used a music box on Charlotte's spirit. This music box plays a specific tune and the tune from this music box was able to calm Charlotte's spirit and even allow her to sleep, where Vanessa would leave her for years until the events of the second Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Eventually, Charlotte's spirit would be awakened when a trio of paranormal investigators show up at the flagship Freddy's location to do a ghost hunt. And during this ghost hunt, the lead investigator, Lisa, hears a music box, and she follows the sound down into the basement of Freddy's to the secret room where she encounters the puppet's giant music box. She sees the small little music box that Vanessa had placed years earlier to calm Charlotte's spirit. Of course, Lisa messes with the music box and it turns off, allowing Charlotte's spirit to awaken once more. The first thing that Charlotte does is attack Lisa with the marionette before ultimately going into her body, trying to possess Lisa, which Lisa appears to struggle against for some time before Charlotte is forced to kill Lisa in order to possess her body. After successfully possessing Lisa, Charlotte makes Lisa chase Michael Afton down, trying to presumably kill him as well. However, Michael is able to escape. He then says, "Welcome back, Charlotte," and this appears to be part of an evil plan that Michael has in motion. The marionette also has plans of its own, as she wants to escape Freddy Fazbear's Pizza so she can bring her vengeance to all of the adults who didn't listen to her when she was Charlotte. Unfortunately, she is not able to enact her evil plan just yet, as she has to find a way to work around the perimeter lock that all of the animatronics at this location are stuck in, which basically makes it so that they cannot leave the pizzeria. Sometime later into the film's events, Abby sneaks off to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza to play with the ghost children that possess the animatronics at that location. She does not find them and is quite sad. Mike, her brother, trying to cheer her up, decides to let her have anything she wants at the prize counter. And she picks out a toy called a Faz Talker. And so she's really happy with this, and they go home. And later that night, Charlotte uses the Faz Talker to lure Abby to the flagship Freddy's location. Holy shit, what is the reach on this wireless technology from the 80s? Surely it can't be that far, but whatever, whatever. It's a movie, okay? And there's paranormal shenanigans, right? So I can just send disbelief. But Charlotte is able to get Abby to come to the flagship location, and she convinces Abby that Toy Chica, Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, and the Mangle are the rebuilt, new and improved versions of her friends. She uses Toy Chica and Toy Freddy to help Abby with her robotics project for school, and Abby goes home feeling super happy that she's discovered where her friends are at, and she tells Mike and Vanessa all about it the next day. Of course, Vanessa and Mike are deeply concerned about this, with Vanessa telling Mike that she doesn't know how Abby could have discovered this original Freddy's location. And so, out of concern for Abby, Vanessa goes to the flagship location to investigate, where she finds a very possessed Lisa waiting for her. Sometime later, after getting her robotics project destroyed by her asshole teacher, she goes to the flagship Freddy's once again to talk to Toy Chica, with Toy Chica pretending to be sad and to care about Abby. And she tells Abby, well, what if I come with you to your big show at the school? I mean, I'm a pretty cool robot, aren't I? All you need to do is remove the perimeter lock so we can come with you. So Abby is smooth-talked into going into the office and removing the perimeter lock, with Toy Chica walking her through everything. While this is happening, we can see Vanessa desperately trying to get to Abby to save her, with the marionette controlling Lisa's body, restraining Vanessa, basically telling Vanessa that if you don't give me the codes for the perimeter lock, I will kill Abby, and I don't think you have time to test whether I'm going to do it or not. Vanessa tries to reason with Charlotte, begging her not to hurt Abby. Abby's innocent, she didn't do anything wrong, and she knows that Charlotte is upset but please do not kill Abby. Charlotte does not want to listen to this and begins choking out Vanessa, basically forcing Vanessa to give her the perimeter lock code. After Charlotte gets what she wants, she ties up and gags Vanessa, placing her in a locker before abandoning Lisa's body and returning to the marionette. After having the perimeter locks lifted, the animatronics are now free to go wherever they wish, so the marionette sends the toy animatronics to different areas to search for the adults who she believed were responsible for her death back in the 80s. Mike goes and visits an old man by the name of Henry Emily, and Henry Emily goes on to tell Mike about the disappearances at Freddy's and about how his daughter, Charlotte Emily, was killed by William Afton. He goes on to talk about how some passionate creators get really into their work and nothing else seems to matter. And he talks about how he feels great remorse for the way his daughter died. He wishes he was there, but he was so caught up in his work that he lost sight of the things that matter to him the most, like his daughter. So he tells Mike that if he's going to the original Freddy's location, to bring a music box, as it plays a melody that calmed Charlotte when she was alive. The same melody that was on the music box that Vanessa brought to Charlotte's spirit way back when they were kids. Eventually, Mike would call up Abby's school to check in on her, and the school would tell Mike that Abby is no longer there because of an incident at the robotics fair. And so Mike hangs up and immediately goes and checks the flagship Freddy's location to find Abby, which of course he does not find, but he does find Vanessa locked up in that locker, and so he unbinds her and takes off the gag. And Vanessa would then tell him everything that's going on with Abby, the toy animatronics, the marionette, and of course, Charlotte. And then tell Mike that we need to track the animatronics. So you need to go on the computer and you need to find out where each of these guys are because they're going to hurt people. So Vanessa goes off in her car with a walkie-talkie, and Mike tells Vanessa where each of the characters is. And Vanessa is able to successfully stop all 4 of these characters. While this is happening, the marionette realizes that Mike is messing with the computer, so she awakens the withered animatronics to come and attack Mike, basically leading to Mike literally playing the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 video game in real life. While fighting off Balloon Boy and the withered animatronics, Mike is able to successfully shut down all of the animatronics, and he quickly finds out that there is still an animatronic that is active, and that is the marionette, which is currently at Abby and Mike's house. Vanessa quickly rushes over there and encounters Abby, who is possessed by the marionette. And Abby and Vanessa get into a fight where Vanessa again tries to reason with Charlotte, telling her to let go of Abby and to not do anything bad with Abby. She's just a kid. However, the marionette continues to toy with Vanessa and even actually starts attacking Vanessa until Mike comes back and uses the music box on possessed Abby, which causes Charlotte to release Abby and go back into the marionette. With Charlotte and the puppet momentarily defeated, our trio gets a chance to breathe, which is interrupted by the arrival of a strange man. This man being Michael Afton, which I talked about briefly in the video. Michael Afton wants to continue his father's work, and he wants Vanessa to join him. Vanessa completely revolts against the Afton name, stating that Mike and Abby are her family now. This doesn't really seem to upset Michael too much, as he sends the toy animatronics to kill Vanessa and company. This is all interrupted by the arrival of the original animatronics, which come to save the day, quickly dismantling and breaking the toy animatronics before collapsing in various locations around Mike and Abby's house. with the leader of the Ghost Children explaining to Mike that they made a choice by coming over here. They could have stayed at Freddy's and kept William imprisoned, but they cared about Abby more, so they came to help Abby. And this is the last thing they're going to do because it took a lot of spirit energy to come over here. And now they're all used up and are about to pass on to heaven. But the spirits want Mike to know that William will return and he'll be more powerful than ever without the spirits using their energy to keep him contained. Of course, this is deeply upsetting for Abby, as Abby does care about the Ghost Children. To see the Ghost Children effectively dying again and having to leave their animatronic vessels behind as they pass on really upsets her. After this happens, Mike grabs Abby and the two pile into the car. Vanessa initially attempts to follow them, but Mike tells her to back off and to stay away from them because he cannot trust Vanessa. She doesn't tell things as they are and keeps things from him constantly. And Mike cannot deal with that anymore. He has to look after his sister. This, of course, leaves Vanessa heartbroken. As she watches Mike and Abby leave, she is left standing all alone in the doorway of their house. In the background, the marionette rises up behind her and begins to possess Vanessa while she's in this deeply heartbroken state. And that's where the movie ends. Wow, what an ending. Vanessa getting possessed and the movie just ends? I did not see that coming. Now you know they gotta make a third one. We gotta find out what happens to Vanessa. But that is the story of the marionette in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie franchise so far. Obviously, her story is not completed yet, and I'm sure will be wrapped up during the events of the third Five Nights at Freddy's movie, whenever that comes out. I really like how the puppet was handled in the second Five Nights at Freddy's movie. The puppet is pretty close to how it is in the video games, albeit with some changes to make it unique for the movie version. For example, in the video games, the puppet is extremely powerful, and it uses its paranormal abilities to protect the victims of William Afton. However, where the puppet differs is that the puppet is extremely vengeful in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and it uses its supernatural abilities not to protect people, but to serve its own twisted agenda for revenge. It wants to kill people. But with all that being said, this pretty much wraps up my look at the puppet in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie. What did you guys think about the iteration of the puppet that was in the second live-action Five Nights at Freddy's movie? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you wish that they did something different with it? Let me know all this in the comments below. And with that, hope you guys enjoyed. Do take care, have a great night, and I'll see you in the next video.